What?
You're supposed to say welcome to GunThots.
A thing of beauty, I know, will never fade away. What you did to me, I know. Said what you had to say, but a thing of beauty will never fade away. Will never fade away. I see your eyes, I know you see me. You're like a ghost, you're everywhere. I'm your demon, never leaving. I made a soul of rage and fear. That one thing that changed it all. That one thing that caused the fall. A thing of beauty, I know, will never fade away. What you did to me, I know. So what you had to say, but a thing of beauty, I know, will never fade away. And I'll do my duty, I know. Somehow I'll find a way, but a thing of beauty will never fade away. And I'll do my duty, will never fade away.
Merry Christmas! Welcome to GunThots, IR laser video Christmas special. Coming to you right now, Christmas Day.
It is Christmas Day right now.
It's Christmas Day right now.
I hope you're watching this while you unwrap presents with your family.
This is recorded live. Type something down in the chat for us. Oh, Billy says, eat a dick. What the hell,
What?
Billy? What the f?
There's kids.
Come on,
Everyone's
man.
kids are opening presents right
You eat
now.
a dick, mother. It's Christmas.
This video, we're gonna compare 3 IR lasers, the Perst-3, the MAWL C1, whatever.
Plus,
Shut up. And the DBAL-D2.
why even have IR illuminators? Well, sometimes, even under night vision, there's times when there's shadows or situations where you can't see, even with the night vision. So, you need to be able to positively identify what you're shooting at because we follow the safety rules. Know your target and what's beyond it.
Now that he's explained why you would want to have a laser illuminator on your gun, why did we choose these ones? We chose these because they are 3 readily available units to everyone. You can go online and buy these that are adequately bright to be run on a rifle. These rifles are shooting 5.56. You can effectively reach out to several hundred yards, and you want an illuminator that can match that, and these all can.
Let's dig into it. Let's start with the Perst-3. This is the Perst-3. It is a full power IR laser illuminator and pointer. It costs about $1,200. I got it from the eBay Zenitco store. The controls, again, are pretty easy. It has off, visible, pointer, illuminator, illuminator, and pointer. It also has controls, so you can adjust the brightness of each setting. So you can set the pointer to be dim, you can set the illuminator to be bright. It has a couple buttons you can do on the side with that, or you can use a tape switch and control the power from right here.
All right.
FDA doesn't want you to have this. Nah, 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 nah. Perst-3 has a ton of pros to it. I really like this laser. First thing is it's full power. So you have all the options you need to, you have all the power you want. That's not a limiting factor for you with this. Second thing is the adjustability. I really like that. You can set the illuminator and the pointer to be at 2 different levels. You can change the level of basically everything on here so that when you actually use it, they're at the exact levels you want. I think each mode has 4 or 5 different levels. So you can set the pointer to be 20% and the illuminator to be 80%, whatever you might want. It also has flood, so it has a diffuser cap right here, and I really like the flood, especially with the full power laser. The flood tends to really illuminate things well, has excellent spill, and it's not overwhelming. It doesn't gate the tube when you're inside. Another pro of the Perst is the tape switch. The tape switch seems really well engineered. It has a lockout and it also has a rheostat, so you can actually change the power of the laser for each mode that you're in.
Dang, that's a big word.
As a what?
I don't even know.
Is that what you said?
It's got a thermostat.
It's got a thermostat. You can change the things. The last pro of this for me is the controls. It has 2 fire buttons and it also has a tape switch if you decide to use a tape switch. So you can either fire it from here on top, which is what I do. You can use the button on the back like this, or you can use a tape switch.
This can be considered a pro or a con, but the housing is metal, unlike something like a PEC or an PLC, which is made out of plastic. So, durable, yes.
It's chunky though.
As far as the cons go for the Perst, the first one is the cap for the flood. If you run this next to a muzzle brake, there's a high chance it's going to break off. I'm pretty delicate with it and it has not broken off yet. I did email them to try to get a replacement in the eventuality it does break off, but it doesn't seem super durable. So if that breaks off, you're going to lose your flood capability and you're just going to be auto-gating your tube indoors. The second downside to the Perst is the tape switch. It's super robust. It's actually made out of metal and it has a proprietary connector, but the connector comes straight out of the body, so it really limits what you can run behind it. You actually have to space the tape switch out pretty far behind the unit to actually fit it on there with the connector.
Also speaking about the connector, that means that it sort of excludes you from using your standard tape switches of Western origin that have a like ATPL PEC connector, unless you do a little bit of cutting and slicing a little craft project there, which is possible, but maybe not for the faint of heart.
One other downside of the Perst is when you run the laser pointer on low, it always flashes high. So even if you wanted the laser pointer to be low and you wanted to not hurt somebody's eyes if you're indoors with reflective surfaces, every time you turn it on, it flashes high power for about a half second, apparently to help people pick up the sight picture. And then it goes to whatever setting you have it set at. So I personally don't like that. That might be a pro for you, but for me, it's not. If you get schmutz on the lens where the laser emits from, or on the cap for the flood setting, it's gonna show up in your image. So when I run the flood, there are a couple specks in there, and the specks are basically right where the pointer is, so it really kind of messes with your sight picture a little bit. In addition to that, when you run the IR pointer, even with a clean lens right here, it kind of has a little bit of refraction. So you'll have a little bit of a ring around you, even when you're just using the pointer. It makes it hard to work around barricades. You kind of always have a little bit of splashback from that IR pointer.
I have one con. As far as support goes, it's kind of questionable on if you can get these repaired. If you do break them, I've heard that you can get them sent to Ivan Tactical. And there's been some success stories that I've seen where people send them back all the way to Russia to get them repaired. However, there's also a fair amount of stories that I've read about, no experience personally, but that I've read, where people have lost their lasers for like 3 months at a time. So I would definitely count that as a negative.
Another con of the Perst is, for as durable as the construction of the body is, the flood cap, the cap for the tape switch, and the little switch right here all seem to be pretty plasticky and pretty flimsy. I've heard of people breaking all of those, and I've been extra careful not to break them, but I feel like they're gonna break at some point. They're gonna break. Another con of the Perst is, in order to adjust the power settings for illumination and for pointer, the laser has to be on. You can't, if you push the button while the laser's off, it won't do anything. So it is kind of weird that they would want you to shine an IR laser around while you adjust it, but whatever, that's how they do it. Big negative for me.
Russians also kill all the hostages, so.
I don't know if I have any other cons about this. I don't know, I like the Perst. Perst pretty good.
Yeah.
Perst pretty good.
Perst pretty good. Persty good. Alright, this is the MAWL C1 Plus. It's just shy of $3,000 at like 2,800, I think. I got it from Mod Armory, and it will destroy your credit score. The controls are as such. Furthest forward is long range IR and laser, just laser. Mid-range, high and low. Close range, high and low. Pretty easy.
Ooh, super intuitive controls. I bet you guys totally understood what he was just talking about right now.
And then you turn this to get IR, Viz, and off.
Right in the dick.
Pros. You get a lot of Instagram clout when you post a picture of this. People think you know what you're talking about, which is great. It's really good for short rails because it sits next to the buttons. You don't need to do anything, and it's pretty low.
It is its own tape switch.
It is its own tape switch, and you can use other tape switches too. You can use standard height low power variable mounts or just any sights that are standard height without it obstructing the view. The controls are fairly intuitive, and the spill for the close and mid-range are very usable. Like, they absolutely light up my world.
One pro that I found to the MAWL, especially compared to the Perst and other lasers like the PEC 15, is you don't really get that petri dish, but on top of that, it really kind of bleeds out from that center hotspot, so you really can kind of maintain situational awareness outside of where your laser is shining.
It's a nice gradient spill,
Yes.
rather than like a harsh line that sort of gives you tunnel vision if you're not careful.
Some other things that are notable about it is that it is modular, so meaning you can take the head and the rear off and flip it around for if you're left-handed, or you can just fix yourself. Apparently in the future, if they come out with some new advanced cool stuff, they'll make it available so that you can
Buy it for $3,000. Fix your MAWL.
Yep. And since it is a civilian laser that's readily available, you can get technical support for it or whatever.
So what happened? Explain what happened.
It's stuck on IR. Oh, there we go.
Cons. You guys ready?
Buckle up.
Get the tissues ready.
Just kidding, the MAWL's perfect, no
Yep.
cons.
Perfect. Cons. It's really expensive, especially compared to other illuminators that are available on the market, like these two. This is both a pro and a con, but the switches and the settings are preset for you, so you can't really adjust them how you want to. However, we haven't really found any situations where the switches didn't have some sort of pattern that was usable for us in that moment.
Just a note about the switches. Oh, this thing is so heavy.
12 pounds, 13 pounds really. But
Just a note about the switches also is there are so many switches all over this thing. It does take like a minute to get used to that. It's kind of like when you pick up a new video game and you're like, what are the buttons for this at first? And then after you play it a little bit, you sort of figure out what everything does. But at first it can be like a little bit overwhelming how many different little knobs and doodads there are.
One other con, I really don't like the long range lockout button. I understand why it's there, so that you don't just push straight through the mid range, but sometimes I just want that laser, and it's kind of hard to do it in one motion. I actually literally can't, so. That's probably a me problem.
Okay, how big's that hand? Oh.
While they do have a warranty, and you can get support, the warranty is only for a year, which is a really big selling point that I've seen people use in order to justify a MAWL is that it has support and you know, you'll be able to get it fixed and stuff, but it's really only for a year, and you're gonna end up probably paying its own cost to repair it later on. The battery life is just terrible. In the time that we've taken to film this over the past like 2 months, I've had to change the battery 3 times to their 1 time.
I haven't changed the battery yet.
I've had to do it 3 times.
Does it like run out of battery?
Yeah, it
doesn't
flashes.
turn on.
It flashes. It flashes when it's low battery.
So it's like an EOTech, but with worse battery life somehow.
Yeah. This is the EOTech of infrared lasers.
EOTechs are good.
Also, with these lasers, you can set them on like a standby mode without draining the battery. However, if you have them all on Viz because you're doing some good dry fire and you just leave it there, you will come back to it and it will be dead. Bummer, bro. So the easy answer to that is never dry fire.
Yeah.
Which is what I did. This next thing is kind of a big deal. On the newest iteration, the propeller cap is serviceable, and with their new design, it actually ran into a little problem that when it's very cold, the detent and the cap interface shrinks or something happens, and you can have your entire propeller cap lock up on you, which we experienced. Roll the clip.
And when it gets really cold, the detent stops working as good. And this one seems to be fine now. Not fine, it's obviously super difficult to turn, but there was a report of another one breaking
In similar
in a similar conditions. Yeah.
And it actually has happened to quite a few other people too.
It can and did happen.
It can and did, and
Multiple times.
And it's not sand. And B.E. Meyers, well, I called B.E. Meyers, and they said that it has to do with tolerance stacking with their detents, with a batch of detents that they got. So the solution is really easy. It's to take it off, put some lube on the detent, and clean out the channel. However, I think that that's kind of shitty, because this laser was $3,000. It should come
pre-lubed?
It should work. And that was actually the first time we did any live fire with it, and it failed.
It froze up.
It froze up, which is really not great, especially for $3,000. I deserve better than that.
Okay. No, he does not deserve better than that. Don't get him started. But second of all, after lubing that, we've been using these in cold weather, and it has not happened again since then. But why doesn't it come pre-lubed? Why doesn't it come with official B.E. Meyers lube? What if you use the wrong lube?
What if you use the
What
wrong lube?
What if I use KY One Touch Warming?
That would be good, because it was a problem when it got cold.
Can I use it? And so, with that problem in mind, we're actually gonna release a product that we have now. This is the small. It's shielded MAWL, and it's available for $600 at GunThots.com. You need it.
MAWL owners, if you do not buy this, you will be dead in the street.
MAWL owners, if you don't have this, then you have zero Instagram clout. You thought you had all the clout, now you have none of the clout.
And it's a little vest.
Yeah.
So
You can wear it afterwards too, because you're all 5'4".
moving on. The Illuminator is not the best thing in the whole wide world. I'm sorry. We're gonna say it. I think that we all agree that, especially after using the Perst, we were a little underwhelmed when we first saw the MAWL.
Yeah.
I can understand that if someone had only been seeing like those really shitty i2 9007, whatever the model number with the Illuminator is,
just at PLC.
yeah, then the MAWL is definitely better, but it's not the best, at least from our perspective.
Yeah, the first time he turned on that long range Illuminator, I thought he had it in the wrong mode.
Yeah.
It was like definitely a little bit of an underwhelming experience after how much people gas up how amazing the MAWL is online.
With that being said, we didn't find any situations where the MAWL Illuminator was not powerful enough, but maybe there is one out there.
Maybe you can find it because you're a super tactical operator.
Yeah.
The last thing about the MAWL is that it seems to have a cult following of people who love it so much.
MAWL simps.
MAWL simps.
B. Meyers simps.
Blech. MAWL crawlers. MAWL, I don't know.
Cock goblins.
MAWL
So-
cucks.
While this is definitely a good infrared laser illuminator unit, I actually do really like it. I don't think that it deserves the praise that it gets online.
I'm not saying that it's not usable or functional. It works very well, especially at some things like the mid-range spill, but it is not the end-all to be-all of lasers.
Especially for the cost, and especially with the issues that we have highlighted.
Yeah.
You know, you'd expect a $3,000 laser unit to come from the factory a little bit better equipped, at least with a jacket.
So right here we've got the DBAL-D2. This unit's pretty interesting. As you can see, it's kind of a chunk because it's got a LED illuminator over here, which allows them to get around restrictions on laser brightness that affect most civilian IR laser illuminators. It also has a visible and IR laser pointer. The cost on this big boy was $1,159, I believe, from B&H Photo Video. If you email me a price on there, that seems to be the price that they always offer. So that just seems to be a good place to get these for a good deal. All right, DBAL-D2, AKA Big Chungus. Let's talk about the pros real quick. So pros of the D2 are the cost is definitely more reasonable than a unit like the MAWL. Another pro, it's a solid performer. The IR pointer is bright enough, and the LED-based illuminator is actually very bright and is quite versatile. It has great throw at distance, and in closer distances, it does a good job of making things brighter so you can see them and shoot at them. The controls, I would personally consider them a pro. There's one switch and you've got your two visible laser settings down at the bottom. Level is off, and then up are your IR settings, and it's all fairly easy to remember. It's pretty easy to actuate in the dark. I had no issue adjusting settings as I wanted to in the dark with gloves on, not being able to see what I was doing, just doing it by feel. So I feel that the controls are adequate enough that I would consider them a pro. It also supports standard tape switches. I've got a Surefire tape switch right here running to the light and to the laser. Another pro is that the D2 has a built-in QD. So if you want to take it off for whatever reason, you can pop it off, do whatever you're gonna do, maybe save a little weight on your rifle, put it back on. It seems to retain zero, at least close enough.
And you can use one of those leaf things. Right?
Yeah, oh, there's a pro. They make the leaf iron sight for this. It has a mount right here for Bois fast fire or something that you can put a leaf sight on. I don't know why you would mount a red dot on top of this, but you can.
My pro for the D2 is the illumination is awesome. It is super powerful, and in addition to that, it's not a petri dish. It's very mellow. There's not a ton of contrast around it. It really does help you illuminate the environment without mother.
And a final pro of the D2 is that the battery life has actually been rather impressive the whole time that we've had it. It's still on the first battery, and the battery only now is beginning to start to show signs of running low. Moving on to the cons. The first and most obvious con is the form factor of this thing is rather large. You've got the big old illuminator hanging off the side of it.
The dome.
If you can't get over those looks, then maybe the D2 is not for you. It's really not that heavy or bulky because the majority of this is hollow. So it's not really any heavier than the MAWL, and I think it's actually lighter than the Perst.
And you're gonna be using it at night.
Another con is that QD adds a little bit of height. So lower third EOTech right here, you see a little bit of the top of the D2 through there.
Chungus.
Yeah, you see a little bit of the chungus through there, but it's nothing too serious. It doesn't really stop you from getting a good sight picture. And maybe if you were using an LPVO, it might be a little annoying on 1X. One of the big cons of the D2 is how you adjust the spill of the IR illuminator. This whole bezel right here rotates to adjust it, and it's a rather lengthy throw of rotation from fully tight to fully wide, so that's not exactly very fast. The workaround we found is that if you're going to be shooting within like 100 yards, you could easily get away with leaving it on fully wide. It's bright enough. If you're going to be shooting a little bit farther than that, dialing it down to about halfway and just leaving it there, you can probably just get away with that for everything. It's bright enough that it'll reach out still, and you can still use it up close well enough. Another con that we experienced was that this little laser protective cap broke almost immediately. It's got just this little rubber thing right here that snapped.
Trash.
I'm still using it. It's a $5 part, but it still works good enough that
It's $5 Steiner is not going to be getting. One of my cons for the D2 is the only fire switch is right here on this side like that. So not really going to work for lefties. I don't really care about you guys, but it's also not really how I want to shoot a rifle. I don't want to shoot a rifle with my thumb right here, especially the overgas pieces of shit that I've been buying.
Isn't shit?
I actually shot using the on the body switch quite a bit, and it was actually not.
I think when you do that sort of shit, it's a lot more
Easy
helpful
when you
to have a
an
hand stopper.
Yeah.
For
I
sure.
always run with like a
Because then you actually have, because instead of like having something to grab, you have something to push back on still while your thumb does what it's not supposed to do.
Whereas if you're just on the rail, it's just going to be bouncing off the button.
Yeah.
100%.
The other con I would say is the no diffuser cap for this guy.
Yeah.
So if you were to very tactically go inside of a building,
Very tactically.
you're just gonna have to sit outside the door and twist this guy to get it all the way open before you go and do the tactics.
A final con that'll sort of round into a little bit of discussion here is because it's a LED based illuminator, you do get more of a red glow visible signature with it. However, that red glow is really only visible when it's pointing directly at you. If it's like 5 degrees, 10 degrees off of you, you don't really see the red glow anymore. Whereas with these other guys, you see them essentially at any angle, they're just much dimmer of a red glow.
I don't see anything after that test actually. Infrared lasers. What was our experience running these 3 lasers for the last whatever amount of time?
Well, we're gonna need to see an optometrist.
Shockingly, our experience with all 3 of them was overwhelmingly positive. All 3 of these laser units were more than adequate in a variety of different lighting conditions.
We ran a couple different tests on these lasers. One of the tests that we did is we just wanted to see how far they would shine, how far they can illuminate. All 3 of these lasers can illuminate much further than the PVS-14 can actually see, and we were happy to see that. We did another test where we put a flashlight downrange, we shone the flashlight uprange towards us, and we placed a target behind the flashlight. We wanted to see if these lasers could push through that flashlight, identify the target behind it, and then shoot at the target, or not shoot at a no-shoot target. And all 3 of these lasers were easily capable of pushing through that light. So, they're all good.
They're all good.
They're all good.
Can you believe it?
You heard it here first. They're all good.
They're all good.
At the end of the day,
They all did what we needed them to do with the equipment that we have.
yeah,
We were never, between all of them, we weren't found wanting or incapable of doing what the other people with the other equipment needed to do.
Yep. Final thoughts. Having a laser illuminator unit is very useful. It allows you to see into the shade. It allows you to aim. Shocking, I know. And all 3 of these units do both of those tasks very adequately.
My final thoughts are, it really sucks that the FDA regulates lasers, civilian lasers.
100%.
Super lame. I mean, the fact that they limit lasers that you can put on your assault rifle because they might be too dangerous to your eyes is possibly the dumbest thing in the world. My final thoughts on the Perst are that it is an awesome full power unit, super powerful, gives you everything you need for indoors, outside, long range, close range. It does have a few oddities, and I'm a little bit more wary of it breaking than these other units. But besides that, I love it.
My final thoughts on the MAWL is that it works well enough for me to like it. I personally do like the switches. I like the patterns that it generates, but I really don't know if it's 3 times better than these 2 units. And that's something that you need to decide on your own.
I do know
and
it's not.
with your financial advisor and probably your mom when she gives you her credit card.
Final thoughts on the DBAL-D2. It may look like a big old blob, but it's actually a very effective laser illuminator unit.
It's an LED illuminator.
It's
an LED illuminator. Hold on. If you guys could pick one laser on this table to buy, what would you buy? If you had one laser to pick.
With the cost and everything. So.
Yes, everything included.
I would get a Perst.
I think I've changed my mind to D2, but I'm between D2 and Perst. I don't think that I personally don't see the value in the MAWL. It's definitely a capable unit. It can hang with the full power. It definitely does not outperform the full power. People seem to think that it does, but it does not. Yeah, you get a lot of good features, but I don't see it being worth the price tag, so I would go between the D2 and the Perst personally. Personally.
I would say for me, it's between the Perst and the D2. Again, I don't know, it depends on my mood. I would say the D2 is like the vanilla missionary sex of lasers. I would say the Perst is like the
Russian sex.
The Russian back door behind the dump.
I also personally would get the Perst. I think that the warranty situation on the other ones are kind of blown out of proportion. Go to B.E. Meyers' website, you can read their warranty. It lasts a year and it doesn't cover anything, really. So that's great.
Yeah, there's not a whole lot more to say about these. None of them broke, other than the MAWL seizing up a little bit, but it's handled. It was manageable. It was
manhandled.
It sort of took it out of commission at the moment, but
at least it was stuck open on IR.
Yeah, it seems to be working fine now. Yeah, they're good. Goodbye.
But one strange thing did happen with only the MAWL.
Oh.
And our friend's mystery poverty tube.
Okay, yeah.
It made his tube absolutely strobe out.
Just like freaking out, auto-gating.
Yeah.
Some sort of weird auto-gating magic was happening.
I'm going to show them the video.
Right.
There's no way for us to look at that.
There's literally
That's the MAWL, guys.
For us to put this video on the screen in any other way.
Look at the MAWL.
Yeah, this is the only way.
Look at the MAWL.
This is peak editing. Well, it's not really the MAWL fucking up.
It's the tube fucking up because of the MAWL. The tube's auto-gating. The MAWL's doing something weird that the other lasers aren't doing. The MAWL is flashing as well. It's just flashing in a way that the tube is also flashing with the MAWL, which is why it's flashing. But these guys don't do that.
Jesus Christ.
B.E. Meyers, get in here. Talk to me about science, bitch. Because I am a scientist.
It's such a weird conclusion. Such a weird conclusion because, like, usually our conclusion is like, damn, this thing fucking blows.
I feel
but today it's like, dang, they're all...
Hold on, I can do that.
They're all actually pretty good.
I can do that. Damn, this thing fucking blows. The MAWL is fucking trash. You're spending $3,000 on something with Nintendo Switch level switches on it. It feels like the most Chinese plastic. It feels like they scooped it out of the Pacific Ocean and slapped it on top of your $3,000 lasers.
So, moving on. The Illuminator is...
Pro-con, right?
I think so.
Welcome to GunThots.
Welcome to shots.
Gas deflector.
Except mine is fucking unused, untouched by that steel. It just ejects forward only.
Mine's been getting some steel.
Yeah, because you have 3 o'clock ejection.
Yeah, I know.
Just has straight forward and over the upper ejection.
Yeah, I know.
Ejects out the others.
It's literally.
Yeah, my gun ejects good. I know. I made it.
I hate you.
I made it.
Shut up.
I made it.
What kind of battery does the Perst take?
CR123.
They have the same batteries in Russia as they do here, bro.
Nah.
And now, because we said mean things about the mall, you're all going to be saying, "Oh my god, they hate the mall." Hey, so are you in the spirit of giving for the holidays?
Receiving?
Did you spend all your money on gifts and you forgot about GunThots?
What?
What?
Our tree is empty.
We got Patreon. It's patreon.com/GunThots. We post some stuff on there that you don't see other places. So if you want more GunThots, it's there.
You'll get literally nothing out of it. Don't believe him. Just give us the money, please.
You'll get a little bit out of it.
There is something
And
you
we'll
can get
some
out of
money.
it, is that a lot of the times we release pre-orders and pre-access to our merch.
I have nothing else to say.
Thanks for watching.
Merry Christmas.
Merry
Merry Christmas, guys.
Hey.
Oh, hold on. You know what we have to do?
We'll see you in 2021.
We gotta do this shit. Huh?
They're not going to be able to see it.
Well, just make the thingy. Make the After Effects.
Bum, ba, da, bum, bum, da, da, dum, dum, da, da, dum, dum, da, da, dum,
Hey, we hope you enjoyed. We hope that 2020 was as not shitty as possible.
We hope you didn't die of COVID.
There's no way we're getting another video out this year, so we'll see you next year. Thanks, guys.
Maybe we'll make another video. Fuck it.